what are we doing? I sail from Ireland, and I did 1,000 ships, and I found your brother, and I fucked his bitch, and I drink a gallon of whiskey till the night the sun came up. That was all improv. That was my hidden talent, is that I can sling together somewhat convincing. It sounds kind of like I learned the song and then didn't remember it correctly, and am kind of like trying to bullshit my way through the lyrics instead of, I don't know, maybe that's just wishful thinking. My sister and I do that gig a lot. She thinks that it's funny when I make up Irish songs. What's up? It's been almost 3 months since the last episode. The last episode was released 3 days after I was let go from my job. So I've been almost unemployed for 3 months. It's great. You know, COVID happened. It's a little bit weird because it's like when I was trying to work from home and like pretend that everything was normal, and I would just be like, maybe people were having anxiety attacks of their own. I mean, some of my coworkers at that job had kids that they were now cooped up with, and you know, maybe they were freaking out on their own. But we get on these Zoom meetings and we would pretend that everything was fine. It was very nerve-wracking. I had a meeting with my boss the week before I was let go, and he told me that I didn't have to worry about any sort of COVID layoffs. That was a lie, so thanks a lot for that. But no, the anxiety of trying to maintain a job during the early COVID, I mean, now I'm just kind of eager to get back into something, is nothing compared to the anxiety of sitting around. For a while, they wouldn't give me the old unemployment, but oh man, this podcast, the problem with this podcast is that it sucks. It's not good. It's not entertaining. No one listens to it. I don't have the usage stats right now. I just have pulled up the last 3 episodes and when we recorded them. The last episode we did was with my friend from high school, Eric Penza. We talked about Adam Sandler, and we didn't talk about any of his serious roles. We may have mentioned Uncut Gems. We did not get into Punch Drunk Love, which I have not seen, so it's probably a good thing we didn't get into it, because I wouldn't have known what the fuck I was talking about. Then we got into North Shore roast beef sandwiches, which, if you're not from the area, they're delicious. I don't know what to tell you. It's like, my favorite sandwich used to be the steak and cheese sub, because that's just like a brick of a sandwich. The North Shore roast beef is a very similar sandwich. It has a spicy, I don't know, my friend said it's called a Carolina vinegar sauce. It's called James River sauce. It's truly delicious. Because most people think roast beef gross, because like your mom used to make it for you, and like she get this like gray leathery meat, and she put like American cheese, which is plasticky. So you had like plastic and cheese, and then like whatever shitty bottom of the shelf bread. Really, none of that is represented in the North Shore roast beef sandwich. It's fun. Enough about the last episode. There was also 2 episodes that I never released. There was one with Don Zolo. Don is a little bit more conservative, and the episode was recorded shortly before Easter, where he said that he saw no reason why the country wouldn't be reopened before Easter. So and then I am not a very argumentative guy, so I just went on with his ridiculously optimistic outlook. And if I could release it now, then it would be really funny. But he's doing this challenge now where he's like pledging allegiance to the flag I like Don. I don't know why he's doing I don't think there's anything wrong with being patriotic. Doing the Pledge of Allegiance is strange. So he's doing that, and I think he's really just doing it because like the other comedians in Boston my age are seeing these videos of him doing the Pledge of Allegiance. And, they have formed this entire peanut gallery of, like, freaking out. They just can't fathom. Their brains reject the fact that someone is going around doing a 30-day pledge challenge. So I guess that's why it's funny? I'm not sure. I won't speak too much on his personal business. I like it. He's a good guy. Hopefully we can go for a run soon. I've seen that he's been active with some of the other comics. Today I tried to go for a run. I made it 3.88 miles, and it's hot as shit, so I had to stop, and that sucked. That was not good. I'm holed up in my bedroom with my Spider-Man, my posters, a painting, all my medals from races that I ran. I remember races. Bedroom's the only cold room in the house, but I had to turn off the AC because it was getting picked up too much by the microphone. Very frustrating. Maybe if I had a better microphone, we'd be able to sort this out. There's also an episode I recorded with local legend Dave Russo. And Dave is like one of the funniest guys there is. But we were not able to like keep a coherent subject. We ended up recording for like an hour or 40 minutes. And then after we cut, he was like, "Hey, will you just go and edit a bunch of the bullshit out? Just kind of, quick. Quiggledale, he calls me Quiggledale. Yeah, Quiggledale, just cut a bunch of the bullshit." So that, obviously, I didn't want to go through an hour and 40 minutes of recording and figure out what was and was not worth saving. There was a lot of talking over each other. There weren't really that many like finite stopping points that I could kind of cut around. So that episode will be in the archives, or, oh, you know what? It was only recorded on the computer from my last job that I had to send back because they laid me off. COVID! I was, one important thing that you missed, probably the most important thing that happened to me since I recorded the last episode, was that I was at the Speedway. And the Speedway is not letting anyone go inside after a certain hour. I think maybe 11, who cares? And I was in line, so you can just buy like cigarettes and I guess that's it, maybe scratch tickets? I don't even know. So you could basically just buy cigarettes, and I got really into smoking blunts on my porch once it got nice out. I wanted to smoke blunts. I've been smoking these shitty, mostly backwoods, sometimes a Philly's Dutch. Just get real stoned off a blunt, and they suck. They're horrible for you. But anyways, I wanted to go buy some of those, with the unemployment money that Uncle Sam's giving me. How nice of him. Trump 2020. Nah, I'm just kidding. Trump is, he's a little frustrating. Hilarious guy, though. Very funny. So anyways, I'm down there. And there's this kid, kind of a more urban kid. Doesn't seem like he's too with the times. And I felt bad for him because he wanted to go inside and get himself like an Arizona iced tea. We've all been there. I love I have a gallon jug of Arizona iced tea in my fridge right now. But then this kid he finds out that he's not allowed to go inside, that it's only cigarettes after hours. And I was like, that sucks, man. He goes, "Damn, bro, this Corvid, fucking my shit up." Hilarious. He called it corvid, which is a type of bird. Now, in his defense, I didn't find out that a corvid was a type of bird, it's a type of crow. I didn't find that out until like several weeks after this happened. But I was going around saying, "Damn, bro, this corvid," every single time something bad happened. Even if it wasn't related to the coronavirus at all. I just think that is one of the funniest things that I ever heard. He said, "Damn, bro, this corvid." And I think it was also funny because he was just very upset, and with no irony at all, was very upset by the virus, which, it's claimed many lives. It is a little strange that he was so upset about the lack of iced tea at midnight. I mean, frustrating, yes. Many people have died. I don't know. Does anyone even care anymore? Does anyone care about anything? Well, there is no God. And I'm not going to, spend an entire episode talking about why there's no God, because people who do that are very annoying, self-obsessed, cunty. People think that declaring yourself an atheist, makes you smart. It's not. That's not really how. It's like because people who are intellectuals happen to be atheists, and then certain people caught on to the fact that you could just take what they're doing and co-opt their points of views without thinking for yourself, which isn't really what smart people do. Smart people don't just lob on to other smart people and then immediately believe what they believe. They form a complex set of opinions on their own. I'm not claiming that I'm smart, but that generally seems like the gist of what smart people do. So, I don't know. Today I saw someone said that Trump was possibly an atheist, which, probably. I mean, I don't know, he seems like someone that could genuinely believe in God, but just obviously a little bit disingenuous about how much he, believes in all that Christ stuff, or the idea that he's actually read the Bible is obviously laughable. There's a hilarious clip from back in the day where someone says Old Testament or New Testament, and he says, equal, and then they ask him some favorite passages, and he says, a little personal. So obviously he's never actually read the Bible, but someone said that he's an atheist, and I was like, maybe not. Doesn't matter, really. I don't think your belief in God, and he's shown that he's not really that great of a leader. He's a hilarious leader, not a great leader, but he's shown that he's not a good leader. So whether or not he can believe in God, that doesn't seem to be consequential in any way. But then someone responded, they didn't say smart, Trump is not intelligent enough to be an atheist. I made them sound like Richard Nixon, although I'm pretty sure the person was a woman. I think their account was like Kim something. I didn't look into it, but I thought that was one of the most hilarious things I've seen. Trump is not intelligent enough to be an atheist. I was like, you can be very, like, some people are just dumb and then also don't believe in God. Like, you don't need to, like, yeah, I guess there's like a layer of like you're indoctrinated from a kid and you might need to break out. I don't know. To me, it feels like saying like, Trump was not smart enough to be a homosexual. Or, people say that, like, Pete Buttigieg, is he even gay? He's not interesting enough to be a homosexual. Some gays are boring. I'm sorry. No one's saying they all are. Not everyone is just, walking into the middle of a party in someone's living room and getting away with saying irreverent comments. I'm sorry. That is, some of my gay friends do that. It's hilarious, and, I don't care. I can understand why some people may think it's over the top, but whatever, who cares? And, someone thinks, well, if you're an atheist, shouldn't you be offended that if someone might be also an atheist, but they're so ashamed of it that they're gonna pretend to be Christian and go to church once a year? No, I'm not offended by that. Well, first of all, that's just what Catholicism is. Catholicism is just pretending to be Christian and going to church about once a year. I found out, now Trump obviously not a Catholic, because Trump likes underage girls, not boys. Woo! Alright, that's a goofy joke. Might work that one of the stand-up routine at some point, if it ever comes back. Oh, fuck yeah, I gotta talk about my gripes there. But anyway, so, when I didn't find out until I was maybe a teen, that I was like getting the short end of the Catholicism stick. Because, like, that's apparently a big thing in the Catholic faith, is that you don't actually go to church or do any of the... You only do the sacraments. There's the 7 sacraments. They're important things. If you're a Jew, you can compare it to the bris and the bar mitzvah. Marriage is also in both. That is a sacrament. So, yeah, we got the 7 sacraments. They're all bullshit, obviously. They're annoying, and they require, like, work, but not hard work. You just have to, like, dedicate time to, like, pretending to pay attention to some bitch in a room. But my mom would make me go to a class called CCD once a week. She would also make me go to church every Sunday, which was just not a thing that other families did. Other families claiming to be... They did not go to church every Sunday. In fact, I believe part of the appeal of Catholicism is that you cannot go to church every Sunday and then get away with it. I remember one time they like changed the prayer up, and then people came on Christmas Eve who hadn't been there all year, and then my mom was like, you can tell that they haven't. You can tell that they haven't been coming. You can tell that they're only here because it's Christmas Eve. And I was like, oh, you mean you can tell that they have a life? That they're not spending their weekends in a church listening to an old man who clearly is going senile? Literally, the priest one time said, I was at the mall the other day, and I noticed... It's because of the schools. It's because of the video games, I noticed. I was at the mall. Satanic images at the mall. There were satanic images in the stores. That is what we have. Because we have turned on Christ. And this was a Christmas where I was maybe 20 years old. So I had, very much fallen from the graces. So my friends sold me, like, some edibles, like, before they were legal. So it was, like, still, like, cool to do them. I was stoned off my rocker, and this was one of satanic images at the mall. He sounded like Alex Jones, but this was, a respected clergy official in our parish. Yeah, no, but every Sunday, the only person who I, like, knew that went to church every Sunday also was this kid, Dennis, who was a total dope. He was, like, one of those people who, like, tried to have, like, a jock mentality, but he did not have any, like, the physical characteristics of a jock. He was, like, just, like, a skinny weirdo like me, but he wasn't, into math or whatever I was into. I don't fucking remember what I was even into when I was 15 or 16, but he was just, he was a big dope. He was very dumb guy. And every Sunday we'd have to then, like, our moms would be talking for like an hour after church. They would be talking about, oh, I just bought some pack of Sandras for the backyard, and we're gonna I just got the morning glory, and just mom shit. I thought the homily, mom is like, come on, he got the print of that homily off the internet. Anyways, then me and Dennis would have to just kind of like stand next to each other, like Monday morning. We weren't gonna like go back to just hating each other because he didn't like. I don't know. Maybe he grew up. Maybe he, people chill out a little bit when they grow up. Like in high school, I was like very annoying and nerdy and awkward, and none of that changed when I got older. I mean, I grew into my body a little bit more. I'm not as physically lanky and gangly as I was then. Like I now like my body, I'm very thin, but my body is sort of a canvas on which I could build quite a muscular body. And every day I get out of bed and I decide that I am not going to do that. I decide actively every day that it's too much work. It is also, I decide not to work on my spec script or my pilot or my screenplay. Between the three of them, I believe there's probably 7 pages that are actually written. So that's pathetic. And so is my body, but it's a little bit better than it was when I was a prepubescent boy. It is very amazing to me that I've had sex. I think the only reason I've had sex is because when you get an adult, people, their brains change, they go nutsy bananas, and then they decide that, like, this guy's my type. When I wasn't anyone's type when I was in high school, I was just like a weird, pokey elbow nerd. And, but then people get to adulthood and they've already fucked so many of these like muscular meathead guys, and then they're like, all right, I'm tired of that. I guess I'm just gonna have sex with a nerd. And then they just like pull me off the street. Yeah, that's happened to me before. I've just been walking down the street and I have been just pulled, up to someone's apartment, and not literally. They weren't like they weren't like the Kraken, but they just. I've been picked up before, which is quite, it's quite flattering. It's quite flattering. Someone picks you up, and then, you have sexual relations, and then they insinuate that you should leave, and then you stay a little bit longer than you were supposed to, and then you get their number, and you text them once the next day, and then they, like, kind of, they don't say it, but they make it pretty clear that you're not supposed to continue talking to them, so you stop, and you never see them again. They just kind of picked you up on the street. You were drunk. They were drunk. They scooped you off the sidewalk. Let it happen. No need to ever talk about it again. Ugh. Sex is great. A lot of people are on Twitter like pretending that they're not having sex. That is very frustrating. Like people, I just need the quarantine to be over so I can get some vagina or a penis, whatever. Both genders, it's not really, I've noticed it about equally. We know that you're having sex. You're not fooling anyone. I know you're trying to show, like, I am doing my part to stop the spread of COVID. We know you're having sex. You're not. No. Stop it. Stop it. It's the lady doth protest too much, or the man doth protest too much. Again, not a gendered thing. People are talking about dicks. People are talking about pussies. The gay men. I saw today a gay guy retweeted a woman, and she was like, I want to get dick. And then the gay guy did the quote tweet, and he was like, I agree. And I'm like, both of you are having sex. You probably did last week. And I won't hear, you claim that you're not sneaking around, Some of these people are probably tweeting about how they're miss sex. And all right, sneak in the back door. Like, shut the fuck. That's not supposed to be an anal sex joke. That's supposed to be a, well, yeah, you get what I. I've been posting too much on social media. I've been using social media too much. It's gonna burn a hole in my brain. The people who upset me the most are I guess the word for them is like neoliberal. Like they're like, they're like on the left, but they don't support obvious human rights like Medicare for all and free education, and they want to compromise. They want to they're literally just ignorant about shit. Like you could you tell them that about Hillary Clinton murdered 12 people, and then they're like, no, she didn't. It was a compromise. Like they use the word compromise to just cover up their own hypocrisy and ignorance. Like you want a state that's equal for all, but you only support candidates that are in bed with these huge corporations and these large banks. It's a compromise. No, it's a hypocrisy. It's not a compromise. Like, You can compromise on, I don't know, a trade. It's just shit that's too politically complicated for you to even understand. Like, someone is on the payroll of Goldman Sachs. That's not a compromise. That's just, she is compromised. Literally, she is a compromised person. The weirdest thing is that Kamala Harris, there's all these people on Twitter, and they're, oh, Kamala Harris, and there's like a supercut Kamala Harris fan cam. Kamala Harris was like a villain who, she's a woman of color, and I think that's why people like her, is because she's a prominent woman of color. But she put like a ton of black people in jail for not, nonviolent marijuana, and then laughed about it. And she's like a total corporate shill. And then, so despite being evil, now normally when someone's evil, they go pretty far. Hillary Clinton was almost president of the United States. Joe Biden raped a woman and, supported a 1994 crime bill that jailed, that's probably not the year, supported a crime bill that jailed a bunch of black people. But now he's like trying to be like the, hey, hip black guy candidate, So people who are compromised go pretty far. Kamala Harris did not. She got 0 votes. She got like the number, like 0 of the votes. She dropped out before there were any votes, and therefore got 0. So she went from being like a heel to a failure. And oh, Kamala! Literally, one of the clips that I saw praising Kamala was her like scoffing at a question where Tulsi Gabbard raises, valid points about how she put people in jail. Is, oh great, we have a woman of color running for president. How no, she's not good on black people. She throws them in jail for marijuana. Ted Cruz today, fucking. I mean, I don't want to go off on Ted Cruz, because if I do, I probably just say a bunch of cliche shit that people have said, and then I'll start to sound like those people I hate. Like this one, she has resist in her, like, because on Twitter you can write a bunch of bullshit in your name. It doesn't necessarily need to be your name. So she's like, my name, proud mother, resist. And then she shares Chasten Buttigieg fan cam. I was like, how much of a fucking loser do you have to be to love Pete Buttigieg so much in July, months after he is dropped out? So he dropped out, proving that he was a fake candidate who existed only to steal votes. Several months go by, and you're sharing videos of his husband, and you're like, I love it. He was like, I mean, you should have known that was he was the mayor of a town that only had 100,000 constituents, and now Jesus Christ. But anyways, Ted Cruz, Joe Rogan is moving to Texas, and, good for him. I guess. Or bad. They're probably going to save money on taxes, I imagine, I assume that's why people move to Texas. Ted Cruz says, welcome to Texas, Joe. We will protect your freedom. Joe Rogan's favorite plant is a misdemeanor. You cannot possess it. It is illegal to possess. It is illegal to grow. It is illegal to have. It is his favorite. He's very, very open about this. It is his favorite plant. It is not legal in the state of Texas. What? You're not protecting that freedom, Ted. You throw people in jail for it. It is viewed equally as bad per weight as crystal meth and cocaine. I know this because I got arrested for marijuana when I lived in Texas, and my lawyer explained this to me. You're not protecting his freedoms, dude. What if he gets his wife pregnant and they decide they want to terminate the pregnancy? Are you protecting his freedoms? I'm pretty sure you guys tried to use COVID-19 as an excuse to make that shit illegal. I mean, Joe's a multimillionaire, so obviously he's not going to get in trouble for marijuana, or, and he would be able to figure out how to terminate a pregnancy if he needed to, because that is what multimillionaires do. But still, this fucking, the double think that these Texas people have. We're libertarians, but we hate weed for no reason, even though many of us smoke it. And gung-ho, the Texas spirit. Oh, have you ever gone to the Texas Museum in Austin, the Texas History Museum? It is the most ridiculous, it's just propaganda in museum form. But, everyone's chill about it, it's not propaganda. They're so, in Boston, people, they love Boston, they have Boston pride, they love the sports teams, they love, cultural references, but they'll still complain about the crumbling infrastructure and bitch about the mayor and, shit they don't like. In Texas, it's, considered to be extremely taboo to criticize the state of Texas at all, even though it has all these glaring issues and is, the second worst state after Florida. Very strange, folks. Very strange phenomena, very strange people. I know a few people got out of Texas, and, they're very glad that they got out. And for a good reason. And, Austin used to have like a cool music scene, but now they're gentrifying the shit out of it anyway. So, fuck. All right. It's outdoors time, outdoor comedy time. I made the mistake. I thought, I've run a few shows in my hometown of Melrose. It's fun. Many of my friends still live either with their parents or in the area. So I rent a hall there. We try to fill the hall up with people. We always have succeeded. We've done 3 of these shows. Every couple of months, basically like every 4 to 6 months, we do one of these shows. Had to cancel one due to COVID. They were fun. Yeah. They were fun. And then I decided, I've seen some people are doing outdoor shows. I thought maybe I can talk to the parks department, figure out a way to do an outdoor show in Melrose. But I kind of then realized, I don't really know which comedians are even active. I don't know who's back yet. Who's back? Who's getting on stage? Who's getting out there doing those outdoor mics that some people are running? Tony Capabianco runs one in Brighton in his big backyard. I was there a few weeks ago. It was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I was busy at the last one, so I missed that. But that's a lot of fun. My buddy Ed Wall runs a small one, too. Not going to blow up his spot since I think he's got a little bit more limited availability. I just wanted to know who's back, folks. I wanted to know who's back. So I posted in the Facebook group for the comedians, and I said, thinking about running, and I made a little joke about how it's the birthplace of marshmallow fluff, which is true. People in different parts of Massachusetts are very contentious, and they claim that they are the birthplace of marshmallow fluff. Not Melrose, Massachusetts, my hometown, born and raised, birthplace of marshmallow fluff. Let's put it like, look, we don't have anything else going for us at all. No one famous was born there. Most famous person was Christina Kirkman. She was on All That from like 2004 to 2006. Not during the time when All That was good with Keenan and Kel. She is our most famous person. She is on a show on like the O Network, which I for a long time thought was the same thing as the Oxygen Network. Apparently different thing. She's on like Oprah's network. I don't know. My sister said she watched the show. She wasn't a fan, but I can't. Christina's out in LA or something trying to be an actress, and I'm in my Somerville bedroom starting to sweat, trying to make a podcast that no one's going to listen to. So I'm really in no position to judge her for being on the Oprah network, whatever that means, or the Oxygen, whatever one she was on. I really can't judge. Give her a follow. Look her up on Instagram. Give her a follow. She's fun. I mean, I don't follow her because she's kind of annoying in my opinion. But like, you might think she's fun. Who am I to say what you do and do not think is fun? I had some of the other. Did I get sidetracked? I was talking about our favorite. Oh yeah. So I posted this, and then this was a huge disaster because now I have just dozens of squids in my DMs. Not everyone who messaged me is a squid, if anyone is actually listening to this, but too many people, and definitely too many white men. Now, I have nothing against white men. I happen to be one. Many of my relatives are also white men and friends. However, you can't, and I'm not one of those, like, you gotta give a voice. I mean, I think you should give a voice to minorities, so that's probably. I'm not one of those people who's like a Nazi about it. A lot of people in Boston, they can be a little bit of a Nazi about the diversity of your language. They can be a little bit aggressive about it. But my rule of thumb is that you can't book a show that's all men, and you can't book a show that's all white people. Because there are plenty of people who are not men, and there are plenty of people who are not white. There's plenty of people who are both not man and not white. And if you book a show, especially if you got because this is going to be like a 6 to 8 spot thing. If you book 6 to 8 spots and it's just all white people and all, that means that you didn't try at all. Like, I think you gotta, it's a bare minimum. And normally, that's the bare minimum. We do more than the bare minimum typically. It's not a good look. That means that you didn't consider it at all. That you picked the 6 people and you're like, oh fuck yeah, I guess I only picked people that look like me. And I don't know. I've noticed something about the Boston comedy scene, and I'm sure this is true in a lot of smaller scenes. There's obviously way less women, way less than there are men. However, the women that actually stick around and don't, quit, because it is a pretty horrible environment for a woman, from what I've heard. I would imagine. I don't, have the existential fear of being raped as I imagine a woman does frequently. But the women who stick around are so much funnier than the average man who sticks around for 3-4 years, whatever you want to draw the line. And it's probably because men don't have to deal with, like, I assume sexism is an aspect. I assume the overall just grime and seedy quality is just something that's very off-putting to women. Staying up late, drinking cheap beers, chain smoking outside mics in 22-degree weather while you wait to get your name called. That's, not typically girl shit. So I gotta get it. So you gotta, and then the only women who stick around are ones who can kind of either are good enough to justify it, or they're good enough where they're getting enough opportunities where they don't need to grind at these, fairly unforgiving open mics as often, and they can get on shows and, get on stage that way, which is what we all want to do. So that's my theory. Less woman. Rate of funny per woman, especially maybe if you draw the line at like 3 years in or above, way higher. It is a shame that almost zero messaged me about the show, but I can just reach out to a few. It'll be fine. It will be fine. There's actually one person who I was going to ask to do the show. I had her in mind, and I was going to ask her, and then I posted a meme about something on Twitter today, and then someone replied to my meme, and then she liked their reply, but did not like the original meme. Now, the guy replying, he was just adding to the joke. He wasn't, he wasn't being like, hey, you're an asshole. Like, he was just adding, he gave a tag to the joke, and she liked his tag. She did not like the original. So she will not be asked. I have to draw the line somewhere. You can't be just, that's social media disrespect. Can't be pulling that. I'm not going to, you got to draw the line somewhere, folks. No ill will. I'll get over it. But, that is the penance. She's not going to ask. That is what happens sometimes. It causes me to tremble. I hope this works. I have a call I was having a bad day on a Friday, and I missed the call. I slept most of the day. I am depressed. I have no health insurance, and therefore I couldn't re-up on my antidepressants. Could enroll in the Mass Health, but it's a little expensive. It's like $450 for state health insurance, $450 a month. So I decided it would be smart to just wean myself off my antidepressants. And it was not that good of an idea, folks. So anyways, sometimes I just have days where I'm in a full bout of depression and don't get out of bed at all. So I missed the call from the woman from the Parks Department. Sue me. I told everyone I was hungover. That's not what it was, unfortunately. No. Anyways, I'm like Kanye West. I am bipolar, and therefore you should give me a lot of attention and sympathy, even though I'm privileged in many ways. Same diagnosis. I don't know if it's the same diagnosis. It's similar diagnosis. So I got to call the lady from the Parks Department tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get a day. Hopefully we'll just have a kick-ass outdoor show. It'll be fun. It's always fun. It's always a lot of stress, but then when it's over, you look back and you're like, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. I don't know. I have just been too much, and so everyone is upset. There's like 1 or 2 people who are in my corner at this point. I have been annoying people on social media. I've been just glued to I've been just responding to every single thing. So everyone has turned. I'm pretty sure most of the comics in Boston have me muted. And, instead, because if they unfollow me, I'd realize, and then I would unfollow them. So I'm muted on all fronts, fairly certain. It's gotten out of control, and I can't stop myself, and I probably won't stop myself. Although the other day I did go and realize that, like, there's a bunch of people who don't follow me who probably never did, and I'm not sure really why I followed them either, because I don't like them at all. Twitter's a little bit more upfront, because you go on Twitter and it's just like, it says follows you or doesn't. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, for this person. And then, Instagram, it's like, you could go into your list and you could search, or you could just unfollow them real quick, and then it will tell you it will either say follow or follow back. So like today I was scrolling my Instagram and I saw this guy and I'm like, I hate this guy. I have never liked this guy. He's never liked me. He's actually fairly openly hostile to me whenever I see him in real life. I'm going to unfollow him. That sounds like fun. And I unfollowed him and it didn't say follow back. It just said follow. So, great. I mean, he probably never followed me. I mean, he's a piece of shit. I hate him. I don't hope he dies, but, if he could, just get serious, like maybe break his leg, something like that, that'd be a fair trade. Anyways, let's not get into the... I don't need to be toxic. Why are you being so toxic? Why is Joe Rogan saying that you can't play video games? Joe Rogan just like every now and then a clip from him just goes off and people get very upset with almost no. He's like, Joe Rogan's like, if you play video games for 3 years, you could have opened a jiu-jitsu school instead. And it's like, whatever. He's always saying shit like, who cares? Who cares? He's closer to my dad's age than he is to my own. Like, he's like a fitness guy. You think he's going to encourage you to play video games for 40 plus hours a week? No. Why would anyone who has like a fitness angle to them encourage you to play video games for like dozens of hours a week? Come on. They're addictive. Yeah. It's like smoking. You play 1 or 2 hours a day, it's probably fine. He was literally in the clip. You can watch the clip. He's literally saying, like, people who play, you spend all of their time playing. And then all these people, and part of it's like, do these people even give a shit? Or are they just, pandering for, like, the video games help me. Hey, Joe. They always have to, hey, Joe Rogan. Every time a tweet begins with, like, hey, person's name, that's just, like, exactly the tone that I know I'm in for. Hey, Joe Rogan. Video games help me manage my anxiety. What would you rather I do? Run? Lift weights? I mean, yeah, that's probably, sitting on a couch and playing a game, it's fun. And, it burns some steam off. But, like, yeah, you shouldn't consider it a substitute for activities that actually, like, burn the literal steam off of you. Hey, Joe, if I can't shoot people in Fortnite, then what do you want me to... You want me to shoot up a post office? Is that what you want? You want me to go in and just end 16 random lives at the post office? The post office is underfunded, and you want me to go in there and shoot people instead of playing video games? It is. It is. Oh, I forgot to explain that I am not having guests anymore. I mean, no, you didn't listen to the first 3 episodes where I did have guests. There's one guy that I would love to have as a guest. His name is Mike Shanahan. He responds to every single one of my tweets. He always just references the IRA. It's very uncomfortable. He's a staunch Trump supporter. He's either mentioning that Joe Biden is a rapist, which, like, dude, you're not cool for figuring that's public knowledge that Joe Biden raped someone and is very creepy with women, and he like open mouth kissed it. Like, you're not. No one's hiding that. This is like such a fucking kangaroo court we got here. I'm drinking Mountain Dew, by the way, and I don't think there's anything wrong with drinking Mountain Dew. I'm not ashamed, like, at all. In fact, I'm proud of it. Okay, I'm not proud of it. I mean, I did just make fun of the video game. Like, I like video games. I do. But you people getting mad at Joe Rogan, you just sound like a whiny cunt. Like, I don't know what the fuck. This just says Mountain Dew, Connecticut. Was this bottle supposed to be sent to Connecticut and there was an error? This bottle really says Mountain Dew, Connecticut. Okay. Anyways, I want this Mike Shanahan guy on my podcast. Now, he'd probably call in from some, like, weird flip phone. I'm not exactly sure how he uses Twitter. He seems to be insane. He seems to be very insane. I've been dealing with him on my Twitter lately, but every time he says something ridiculous, I just take what he said and I record a video of me saying it in, like, a Liam Neeson voice, and I send it back to him. And today he said, I came here on a 6. So I don't have that. He didn't say Liam. He said like Colm Feore, some Irish actor. It wasn't Colin Farrell. It wasn't Colm Feore. I don't have the voice. Colin Shillelagh. I don't have his voice. I only use it when I'm talking to an Indian cab driver. That's exactly what he said. I only use it when I'm talking to an Indian cab driver to get a lower fare. So he doesn't have the Irish accent, but he does have something that a lot of Irish people do have, which I consider even more authentic, which is early onset schizophrenia. As you know, Irish people much higher risk for depression, alcoholism, and schizophrenia, and I believe that this individual has won the trifecta. He is incredibly incoherent. He comments on a few other comic stuffs. I've asked around about him. Crazy guy, and I would love to have him on the podcast if he, wants to, somehow buy equipment. I guess I don't really want to have him on if it's going to sound like absolute garbage. That's part of the reason I stopped having guests. And the other reason is that it's just too hard to make. What was I just get other comics on, and that's, all we've been doing was talking about, well, comedy. We used to do comedy, and then we stopped. Because everything stopped because of the coronavirus. And it's going to be different when things come back. There's going to be a new normal. You might be able to talk about coronavirus, but some people, it might be like 9/11, where they're not ready to hear jokes about it yet. We don't know. And, I know, I thank you to all the people who did actually, be guests, but, it started to be upsetting to me that seemed to be a cyclical conversation that we could not get out of. Sorry, burped a little bit from the Mountain Dew. I am allowed to drink Mountain Dew because I'm a snowboarder. If you just play video games / are a racist hillbilly, then it's a bad look. But if you get out there and ride, I didn't even ride at all this year. I had 2 different times where a friend bailed on me the morning of when I was supposed to go. And then I got back, went on a little vacation to San Francisco. First week of March, got back, thought maybe I can do a March day, maybe I can do an April day. And then the COVID said no. So I'm drinking Mountain Dew in memory of, that's not true. I'm drinking Mountain Dew because I saw it at the store and I wanted one. I bought it. It's almost 1 in the morning too. Should not be drinking Mountain Dew. Got a big day tomorrow. You don't know what happens. You don't know what happens, Mike Shanahan. You don't know. One day you're looking to the street, one day you're going over the hills. One day you're in the county Cork. The next day the IRA is blowing your head clean off. Except that I wasn't the one getting my head blown off. I was blown off the head. I was fighting for free. This guy loves the IRA, but he hates all American system, all American groups that are equivalent to the IRA. He hates the Democratic Socialists and Antifa, which are clearly parallels to the IRA. He doesn't see the he thinks that Trump is the side of the IRA. Trump is literally commanding armed military not military, but federal agents in military gear and unmarked vans to kidnap the people who are more like the IRA. I mean, wherever you stand on the issue, the people rioting and trying to fight back against the government are more akin to the IRA than the President of the United States, billionaire, scam artist, property guy. He is funny, though. I wonder if the British leadership during that time period was just truly hilarious, like Trump is. I don't know. I don't know a lot about history, but that's a good segue into this next subject, which I think I'll probably close on. So I watched Hamilton. You guys seen it? It's great. It's because I was never going to go to New York and actually see it. Maybe when quarantine is over, I will make the time to go to New York and see Broadway plays that are Tony Award winning or whatever. But, all the theater nerds I know really liked it, and it seemed interesting. And I probably liked it a solid 10 times as much as I thought I would like it. It was pretty good. It was a good show. And I've seen a couple of shows. I've seen Jersey Boys. I saw the Book of Mormon when it came to Boston. And I've seen an amateur production of Sweeney Todd. And I think there's a smattering of other amateur things I kind of picked up over the years. Gotta be cultured, right? Here's the thing. It's a recording of the live show, which is good. That probably would have been better than some hackneyed attempt at making a shitty movie out of it. But during any theatrical production, any musical, And you also will notice this if you ever go to, say, like, see a movie in, like, one of those 35 millimeter artsy theaters like we have here in Somerville. During any sort of, like, artsy, pretentious showing, there will be moments of what one might consider light humor that audience members who are theater enthusiasts, who are pretentious and really want to show you how much they love, how much they're enjoying the production, how much they're engaged. They get it. This is for them. They're theater people. So these people who are like theater enthusiasts will laugh at these, like someone will be like, there's a scene in Hamilton where Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr, the characters, they're like, look at all these women. We're good with women. We sleep with many women. And then, you can hear people in the audience like, like, that's not funny, obviously. It's not funny at all. No one. Why would you think that's funny? It's this misplaced sense of elitism where the people who are like the theater enthusiasts with the thick glasses, and some of the women might have like a weird beehive, and you get these well-dressed gay men, and then you got like straight men who look exactly like the well-dressed gay men, and then the only difference is that they're not actually gay, but they're indistinguishable otherwise, which in a sense is like more gay. Like if you're gonna, be indistinguishable from some sort of Broadway gay man, then you should be having gay sex. If you're just a straight guy, it's very gay for a straight man to do that. I don't understand it at all. Anyway, they're forcing themselves to laugh at these moments because they want to show you how much they enjoy it, because their culture, theater is their thing. They're engaged. They're enjoying it correctly. And, if this is your first show or whatever and you don't understand why they're laughing, it's because you don't get it, because you're left out. And like I saw the same thing. I saw The Lighthouse, which great movie. I very much enjoyed it. Not a comedy at all. Not a comedy. If you've seen it, you probably know that it's not a comedy. We see it at this, very pretentious sort of theater in Somerville. And first of all, most of the people who are in this theater, it's $6 a ticket at this theater, and it's $19 at AMC. So let's not forget why we're here. But it's this very artsy, like, chic, hip, cool, 35 millimeter again, and that's The Lighthouse is the kind of movie you wanna see in a 35 millimeter setting. Now, if you haven't seen the movie, there's a couple of scenes. Robert Pattinson is a young guy, and he's basically quarantined with this Willem Dafoe character who's an older guy, and they want to show that he's a gross old man and that Robert Pattinson's not having a good time. So one of the ways they do that is when they lie down to go to bed, Willem Dafoe's character keeps farting, and he's like, pfft. And then, I swear to God, grown adults, people probably twice my age, were in that theater, and I was with my friend, and we thought, I heard this is an artsy movie. I'm not usually an artsy movie guy. He's like, me neither. I was like, it was something different to do. I've been meaning to see it. A lot of my friends liked it. Like, let's go see it. So we're in the theater. We're into the movie. Willem Dafoe farts. Pfft, half the theater. Oh! Same shit. And I recognize that same laugh from these fucking plays. All right, so Broadway, obviously, New York City. Many of these people travel in New York City, and they've decided that Broadway is the most cultured thing that you can do over museums, visiting the United Nations, I don't know, tours of the famous buildings, all sorts of stuff. I'm not going to judge what you do when you're in New York, but they have decided that Broadway is the most cultured thing. Now, they could be down the street. They could be down the street at some random comedy club where some New York guy is like, hey, let me tell you about my wife, huh? My wife is such a whore. My wife is such a whore. She fucked a milkman. She fucked a guy downstairs. She fucked a butcher in the butcher shop. She'd fuck the dog if it weren't illegal, huh? And they would be disgusted. They would think, oh my God, this is sophomoric. This is crass. This is banal. But then they go to these Broadway shows, and because the rules are different, as long as this is high budget performance, they put a lot of emphasis into the music. And also one rule about Broadway musical numbers is the end always has to like abruptly twist to, drive the plot forward. So they could go to the same Broadway show, just a few doors down from the comedy club that they were just at. And the musical number could be like, your wife is a whore. She fucked the butcher and the guy next door. She fucked the town crier. She fucked the paralegal. She would fuck the dog if she knew it wasn't legal. Your wife is a whore, yes, your wife is a whore. The semen dripping from her little whore, pussy whore. Your wife is a whore, and let's say no more. Your wife is a whore, she fucked me last week until 4. Ba, ba, ba. Your wife is a whore, and everyone knows it. Your wife is a whore, she's got a pussy, and she shows it to everyone in town. Your wife is brown, she's got the roast beef pussy, 'cause she fucks all around. Yes, now let's go back to our work, 'cause it's 1944, and we haven't finished building the Hoover Dam yet. And then it goes into the scene where they continue building the Hoover Dam, and the character is slightly disgruntled that, many people in that theater who hated that New York comic talking about his wife was a whore would laugh so hard they had brain aneurysms and died. And I hope they do. I really hope they do, because honestly, tickets to Broadway shows are very expensive. I would like to see more of them. So I would very much enjoy it if people, just died laughing at bad jokes during Broadway shows. And sure, they might stall the production. They might have to put it in a hold and something like that, but they'll get over it. They're professionals. These people, they're the best at what they do. And it's very commendable. It's very respectable. And I enjoyed Hamilton a lot. And one thing I was thinking the other day, I saw the Book of Mormon live. And the Book of Mormon is actually very toothless. Because at the end, it just wraps around to this sort of message of religions are silly and they believe silly things, but they also use it to be better people. And it's like, wait a minute, you're talking about Mormons, though. You're talking about Mormons who, if you're a gay Mormon, you're just forced to go through conversion therapy. And then, many people go through conversion therapy, kill themselves. The parents murder the gay kids. The gay kids are killed by the parents in that faith. There's all sorts of oppressive power structures involving women. And you boiled it all down to, well, they're a little kooky, but they are some pretty good people. And it doesn't even work because the play is also supposed to be a larger satire of religion as a whole, but they don't really poke on the people go to war aspect of, the reason it was considered to be a scathing satire is because the subject was religion, and they also had rape jokes and abortion jokes and used the C word. They were like, God is a cunt, ha, ha, ha. And then, oh, wow, what a scathing takedown of religion. So it's that same shit, right? That's it. Like, this is sophomore. These people wouldn't be able to watch South Park. Most people who were lining up to see the Book of Mormon, there was obviously a lot of South Park fans there who wanted to see it because they like South Park. There was a lot of people who were just Broadway fans who would never be able to stomach an episode of South Park. And they were, oh, it's hilarious. They're singing a song, but they say cunt. But then if you saw a film where there was a cunt song, you would be very offended. So it's the exact same phenomenon. They're getting away with non-satire by pretending it's satire, by using the rules of Broadway, which, again, high-budget musical number, and then at the end of the song, you just kind of work it back into whatever the plot is about, And they're acting like it's this grand satire of God. God is a cunt. Fuck you, God. That's the song. That's the big song. Fuck you, God. But God doesn't exist, as we said in the beginning of the episode. But even though God doesn't exist, that doesn't mean that somebody's not listening. Good night, folks.